We're just going to make a quick news piece out of this PDF, which is about telisotuzumab vedotin monotherapy in patients with previously treated c-MET protein overexpressing advanced non-squamous EGFR wild type non-small cell lung cancer in the phase 2 luminosity trial. And this agent, telisotuzumab vedotin, was just approved for this indication based on these trial results. And this is the paper that we're going to upload into ChatGPT along with a prompt. And I'll show you how to do that for a news piece. All right, how to write the medical news. When you write a news piece, you can typically follow this format. And most news pieces do. They start with the most important information, a catchy headline, and we'll go through this real quick. Now, of course, the structure that I'm showing you is sort of a standard template. But what you need to do when you get a client that wants a news piece written is get a couple of examples of their format and follow that to the letter. But this is a good structure for most news pieces. And one thing to know about the structure of a news piece is that it's sort of inverted. It's called an inverted pyramid because you want to put the most important information up top, and it goes contrary to how a general scientific paper is written, where you have this introduction and then you launch into the results and then you have the grand finale of the discussion at the end. So it's an inverse pyramid for news pieces. Let's quickly look at this overview. So I'll go through an example, and I'll also use an AI prompt that you can download from where you're watching this, that you can put into ChatGPT with the actual PDF that you're writing about and use that as a base to your news piece. All right, so the headline is going to be the main findings summarized in a catchy way. And it's probably maybe even the hardest thing to write is what you want the reader to click on to open your piece. So it's got to be catchy. The lead paragraph is the main finding, and it has the date. It will just summarize the news piece in one paragraph. And if the reader doesn't continue on, then they have the main information, and it should be short. Then next you have a housekeeping paragraph, which is the affiliation of the researchers, the journal that it's published in, or the conference that you're reporting from, where it was presented, that kind of thing. Just the housekeeping paragraph is what I call it. Then you have additional background, helpful for providing context. You might have the fact that the agent is about to be approved, or what is the mechanism of action, or some kind of context. And then the next paragraph is the main results. So pretty much straightforward and as it sounds. Then any additional secondary results that you might want to report, that's optional, but if that's necessary, you can include it. And then I always have a paragraph about adverse events, caveats, more research is needed, that kind of thing. And then finally, you'll have disclosures. The study was supported by the manufacturers of this drug, and you'll disclose that, or it was written by employees of the company, or it was not commercially funded. So you want to always have that information in there at the end. So I've written literally thousands of news pieces in my time, and which is amazing to me, and manually, because this was pre-2022 when the advent of ChatGPT came along, and now it's really just good enough to use with an effective prompt. So here's the prompt that you can use to get the base for your news piece. And it follows this template that I've just described. And you can see you're a world-class medical journalist writing a news piece about the attached paper for a clinician audience. Please use a professional tone. I like that as just a sort of baseline, and then you can add your own voice to whatever the output is. And there's structure and what I've just gone over. I also added a tagline, additional information about the main finding. That would go right after the headline. That's not for all formats of pieces that you'll write, but some news places, they'll have like a tagline that goes on the main page that will help the reader decide whether they want to click that. All right. And then the same information, I called it the beginning paragraph, so there was no confusion about the word lead, L-E-D-E. Lead, L-E-D-E, why it's spelled strangely like that is to differentiate it from L-E-A-D, which is lead, and that was actually used in the printing process, which we don't really probably don't use anymore, LEAD, but LEDE just means the beginning paragraph. All right, housekeeping paragraph, and then the structure as I described. And then I also add in at least one relevant quote from the paper towards the top of the piece that will provide context or additional information for the audience. Okay, so you just take this and you put it into ChatGPT, and I'm not going to show you that, but I do have the output from when I did it. Here's the output. It gives me a headline, a tagline, main paragraph, housekeeping paragraph, mechanism and rationale, and main results. Gives it in bulleted format, which I would advise against. Just take this information and have it write a more fluent or flowing paragraph rather than having bulleted points, although that might be good for your particular news piece. Not sure, but you can adjust it. Additional results, safety and future studies, disclosures, and then it does a separate quote. I like to put quotes in the additional background paragraph if I can, so up top towards the top of the piece, so it provides the context ahead of the main results. So I like to do that. So that's it. This is the base. Obviously, you want to check the figures, but it's pretty much going to be correct, honestly, at this point in the development of AI. But you do want to check everything because this is supposed to be your writing and you want to make it your own. This is all very dry, straightforward, and just factual. And you want to sort of put your own voice into this as you write the piece. But you would just take each section in this order, paste it into another document, craft it, finesse it, make sure it's accurate, and then that's your news piece. So there we go. And that's how you write a news piece in the year that I'm recording this, which is a lot easier than all the pieces I wrote before 2022. So there we go. And again, you can download, copy and paste this prompt, make it your own. If you want to make it a different format or add more information to it, then you can certainly do that. And then just to mention, the hashtags here act like headings for the AI that they can detect. So it makes things more clear for the AI to give you the output that you want.